In this episode, you'll get a breakdown of the quote, "The old self must die for the new self to live," and why transformation requires the death of who you've been. Welcome to Energy Alignment for Entrepreneurs, the podcast helping entrepreneurs be free from anxiety, stress, and tension through balancing emotions and consciousness expansion. Here are 3 things we'll go through today. Number 1, why trying to keep parts of your old identity sabotages your transformation. Number 2, how to grieve the death of who you were without resisting who you are becoming. And number 3, the Phoenix Principle, burning completely so you can rise completely. Now, we'll begin with the quote, right? The old self must die for the new self to live. I know you've heard this sort of phrasing before, right? In all ancient wisdom, there is a dying of who you used to be. Now, it's in practical terminology, esoteric. It's actually simple. And really, we have this concept, which is identity. And identity cannot be without the trio of memory, knowledge, and experience. Now, the human life calls for the use of the brain in that trio. But there is something in life beyond just your human condition. And that's what we are stepping into as a humanity that is developed. Consciousness, right? If you look at the history, we've been around. We've gone through things. Genocide. And the time is coming, the time is here for humans to realize that the world will never change unless we change. And what that means is pretty much the quote. The old self must die for the new self to live. Your awakening is humanity's awakening because the world operates from the butterfly effects. Now, you don't need at all to believe a word that I say. I would actually recommend that you listen with a skepticism, meaning that you are not blindly accepting a single thing that you hear. And you do not at all confuse me with any form of a false authority. All I am doing here is reminding you of what you already know. I'm not telling you anything new. I am not doing anything extravagant. The bottom line is that when you observe the way that your identity, the trio, memory, knowledge, experience, projects in milliseconds during your waking hours, you're going to see that there are patterns and themes of tension and energy that arise in a predictable manner, right? There's a book on my shelf right over there. It's titled Predictable Irrationality. And this is the art of observing your own nonsense. See, change always begins internally. It's not as if something needs to happen for you to change. Now, God loves you, so God will do things in your life, breakups, hardships, different situations and circumstances to let your fire burn cleaner, right? You have let's say you tune a motor. Sometimes it takes a few iterations, right? And initially your motor may be running too rich or too lean. And really, in simple terms, just as in you look at like the mixability of oil and water, you have chemistry, right? You have chemistry within your biology. And the art, I think, is really beginning to let the sensitivity of consciousness awaken through discernment, through alignment, through change in lifestyle. One moment. And when let's use this as sort of a bridge to the first point, right? Because I'm going to use the whole episode to depict the quote. I don't want to just sit on the quote for 10 minutes. The first point is why trying to keep parts of your old identity sabotages your transformation. And that is another way to hint at your old self dying is what allows for the space for who you actually are meant to be to come into existence. So if you look at the sort of the psychology around habits, I'm sure you've heard this before, right? It's like 21 days plus to form a habit. And when you want to change habits, you don't just drop things and leave that space open. You replace the bad habit with something healthier, right? For me, I like tobacco and nicotine, and I don't know if I'm going to smoke forever. But I do know that the more I fill my days with activities, with community, with things that charge me, I have less and less space for certain habits that may not be healthiest for me in my future, right? So it's kind of, I'll bridge this to something modern day kids struggle with a lot, like the idea of vaping. If you want to quit something, it starts with your actions and your energy. So it's like if you want to stop vaping, stop buying vapes, right? And for me, like if I really get to a point where I'm done with tobacco, I need to stop buying tobacco. So, but at the same time, I'm not at this battle with myself. Like I accept that I like it. And for you, there are going to be certain things in your life that stay around. Then there are going to be other things that need to go. For example, for me, um, there are fundamentals that keep me able to share this message with you, right? Like working out, having the right conversations, doing my fundamentals. Now, when we practically make sense of the bigger picture here, number one says why trying to keep parts of your old identity sabotages your transformation. And life comes in waves and seasons, and God is going to be urging you to change, and you're going to have hard emotions that God has kind of given you the opportunity to work through. Now, it's important here that we don't fool ourselves into like, oh, I'm healing. Like, sure, maybe you are, but there's a problem with labels because if you're always healing, then that means you're never healed, right? If you're always uh, obsessed over what's next, then you're never appreciating what you are now. And in life, there's a balance here where gratitude's necessary, yet for drive to be pure, you kind of need hunger, right? So if you are to really be changing, that means that you're going to have to let yourself be empty sometimes. And I am going to fix that setting, the Google Meet setting, digressing. Fundamentally, there is a constant, and that constant is change. And when you get with it, you stop being dragged by it. So, what that means is really in transformation, you almost, I don't want to obsess over surrender, just as we don't want to obsess over seeking, but there's a balance of, all right, there are things that I need to change because I'm very straightforward and honest, right? When I do X, I get Y result, all right? Inputs, outputs, simple, pros and cons, logical analysis and awareness. But then there's also this deeper transformation that is being ushered into your life, and that isn't always linear, right? If you look at charts, stock market charts, any chart, right? There are ups and downs. And you want to look for like higher lows, if you will, right? In an uptrending chart, you want to see higher lows over an extended period of time. Where are the higher lows in your life, right? For example, I just got broken up with maybe a month ago, and honestly, best relationship I've ever had. Never loved someone so deeply. And I, like, sure, maybe in this low period of being broken up and with, but it's a higher low. Like, it feels so, I don't even want to say good, but it feels like I've had my heart broken and it's just made me stronger and better. And that's been so hard. But God did this for me. And I just share that with you because it's not always easy to see it that way. Okay. But as you walk and you have faith and you fill your days with the things which charge and fuel you, and you work hard and you care for yourself and others, and you feel the energy, you transmute the energy, you observe your own illusions and frictions and tensions the moment that they arise. You journal, right? You ask yourself questions, you meditate, you take time to be still with the energy that God is putting into your life, right? See, the thing is, when you're given lemons, you got to juice those lemons. Sometimes you're going to get like you're going to have cuts and wounds and the juice is going to sting, right? But you still need to have that courage to say, God's given me lemons, and it's my duty, my responsibility to bring my best to the table no matter what. And sometimes your best isn't good enough, and that's all right. Don't take offense to it. Just get better. All right. Take it on the chin. Get dirty. Get muddy. Do not live in fear. Do not entertain worry and doubt. And notice the actions that lead to doubt and worry and fear. Right. And be conscious enough to reverse engineer, like you created that state in which you're in. Now, of course, right, you take example getting broken up with. Oh, she did that to me. Well, in some way, I did that to myself, right? I chose to meet her. I chose to interact with her. I chose to pour into her. And I am not a victim of this situation. I don't know exactly everything about it, but I do know that God is for me and God is for you. And say this with me: God and I are one, and yet God is greater than I. God runs within you, but the moment that it's your will and it's not God's will, then you think you're greater than God, right? So God and I are one. God and I are majority. It's me and God, yet God is greater than I. You know, this is reading between the lines. You don't need to logically decipher the words that I'm saying. Um, Number two, how to grieve the death of who you were without resisting who you're becoming. So, to grieve is really to feel, and to grieve is not easy. You're going to have these days, you're going to cry, you're going to have thoughts, you're going to wonder why. And I pray for you and I send you courage, strength, and faith, and love, and care. And you are not alone, all right? Even if everyone in your life, even if the people around you don't see you, they don't appreciate you, you've been left multiple times, it's all right. I promise you. Someone will see you. And it starts with you. It all starts with you because the world is not as it is. The world is as you are. We're continuously sending out this, we send out what we bring back to us. So when you're grieving, you're processing and you're feeling, okay? There's no rush. This isn't like a race to process everything as fast as you can. What it rather is a openness to say, I have this utmost trust that everything in my life that I am feeling, that has been shown to me, that I've been put through, is positioning me, it's building me, it's the sharpening of the blade. I'm going to be used somehow, some way. These lessons were necessary. These heartbreaks, these tough situations, these broken friendships, these family ancestral wounds and traumatic patterns that haven't been dealt with by anyone. You are the one. You're the one to internalize and to come out of this fire. Okay? I don't know how else to put it, but the resisting of who you're becoming, it gets less and less as you begin to have gratitude for where you are, who you are, and how you have found yourself in this moment, in this spot, right now, right here. Number three, the Phoenix principle: burning completely so you can rise completely. Right? What does the phoenix do? It kind of turns to ash and then is reborn. What do some of the ancients say, as above, as below? If your roots don't go down to the depths of hell, you'll never touch the transparent, iridescent forms of light. You Because it's the courage, it's the awakening that happens through feeling the depths that changes your heart and burns it all off. Like, you don't enlighten by staring at the dark. You enlighten by having the courage to bring the light into the darkness. You're voluntarily traveling to hell holding your torch, and you're bringing others out of hell with you. But you have to be strong enough to not decay in the flames of purgatory. So that's what God is doing for you through suffering. God is basically prepping you to be strong enough to go down into hell and bring others up and bring others out. Does that make sense? For me, that feels so real. That's what my life has been. Just send me to hell, send me to hell, and send me to hell. So that I have the strength, the courage, the wisdom, the power, the fortitude, the frequency, the vibration, and all of it to carry others out with. I don't know if there's anything more meaningful. We're going to end off on that point, all right? I'm not going to do a recap. I am so grateful for you. If this message just hits you home, there's no coincidence here, all right? If you let these words be received, it's for you, okay? It's for you. I care so much about you. I may not know where you are, how you're feeling, what your name is, but trust. In my heart, I love you. I love you with everything that I am. And you'll never be alone, all right? No matter how lonely life feels, you'll never be alone. You're strong and courageous and powerful, beautiful, healthy. And it all starts with you, all right? One action at a time, it's one step at a time. This is your journey, but you're not walking it alone. Thank you so much for listening. If you know anyone in your life who may resonate with this message, I ask you one thing: please share it with them, okay? If you're interested in a practical transformation as soon as possible, I have a mini book. It is extremely practical. It's a decade plus of fitness, health, spiritual, emotional education integrated into the most practical bridge which I could start you off with. So just check that out in the description. I'm working on a lot. Got a lot of new stuff coming out. And thank you. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great day. Let's go.